A.C.B.A.
Yes, sir. We're officially back at it. Boog Nice coming at you with another daily update. So yesterday was the last Hasbro Marvel Legends live stream of 2022. I think they went out with a bang. A lot of great reveals, not too many duds in my personal opinion. Today, I just want to delve a little deeper into the reveals and where we may be going in 2023 based on what we saw. So the first thing that they showed off was this sort of villains 5-pack that's going to be coming next year that features Strife, Random, Zero, Vertigo, and Pretty Boy. Good possibility that we will get some other members of the Mutant Liberation Front to go along with Strife and Zero. Zero's like one of Strife's sort of right-hand men. You know, he uses him to teleport around. Random, like I said originally, is pretty random, but maybe they'll start to explore some of those older like 90s toys characters that we got. Pretty Boy, we know, is part of the Reavers. We know we need a few members to kind of round that out, including Donald Pierce and his non-Hellfire Club get up. I think Bonebreaker was one of the best Build-A-Figures from Hasbro this year. He could have been one of the best of all time with a few little modifications, a little more detail, treads that actually move. Now, Vertigo is interesting because they may start to explore the Marauders, and that's a wild group. It's a wild team. Some very interesting looks for these characters. But Vertigo and the Marauders kind of goes into the Uncanny X-Men era leading up and through the Outback days. So we'll come back to that. The idea of the X-Men in their Jim Lee costumes, the training costumes, if you will lend to a lot of supporting characters from that particular storyline and Uncanny X-Men that began in issue 275. I hope that we will get an updated Gladiator. The two that we've had so far are on an old, nasty looking buck. In fact, the original one that I got that was part of the Thanos Imperative box set, that one broke on me. But I'd love to see them update Gladiator. Butterfly joints, still buff, but a little more slender than the previous offerings. Of course, we've been long overdue for Lilandra, who was also part of this story. Obviously, the Imperial Guard showed up quite a bit in this story. I talked about the fact that we may be able to get an updated Professor X. We get Lilandra. We should get Deathbird as well. And that'll kind of take us all the way into the future in Uncanny X-Men 475 when the next sort of Shi'ar Empire storyline started with Vulcan as the antagonist or as the main antagonist. Again, we saw quite a bit of the Imperial Guard, Gladiator. Legends has been doing a very good job of sort of mending a lot of things and covering a lot of classic and great storylines that I think you should all be reading, checking out if you haven't, or at least going back and checking them out again for a little inspiration for displaying and what have you. So I think it's great that we're going to get pretty much the full team very quickly. In fact, the 2-packs are going to actually go up for pre-order. The 3-packs, are going to go up for pre-order Friday the 8th. And as I mentioned, Wolverine's going to come single carded, but still part of a retro carded X-Men wave. And you'll have that core team for the most part. I do love that they released Blob as a single deluxe figure. Somebody made a comment about the fact that it's easier on the wallet and easier for the collector if it's a really sought after figure to have him just single box rather than, kind of put him behind the paywall as a builder figure if you don't want to get the individual figures in that particular wave. So Blob is going to help us continue to round out a classic Brotherhood. Pretty much all we need is Destiny. So a Destiny figure is going to be on the way for sure because not only was she part of the original sort of classic Brotherhood, but she also played a role in this modern age of the X-Men with the whole House Powers of X Krakoa storyline. But in a broader sense, we can definitely put together some different eras of the Brotherhood. Now, we need an updated Mastermind. We need Scarlet Witch with the different sort of headdress. We need a green suited Quicksilver, an updated Sabretooth. They got to really step up and give us the best Marvel Legends Sabretooth that they ever given us, aside from the AOA Sabretooth, which is really, really good. But I'm saying butterfly joints, new buck, new everything, great head sculpt, interchangeable hands. They got to really give us a nice, imposing, big Sabretooth. So again, hopefully Blob will be the catalyst for quite a few of these other characters. And then getting back to the Outback X-Men era, another great run in the comics that you should probably go back and read. It's classic, but we're almost complete with that team. Like I said, they could repurpose the AOA Colossus and give us Outback Colossus. We need Psylocke and her very unique uniform from this time, an updated Storm. And the other fella I was talking about who's the teleporter is Gateway. I was drawing a blank on his name yesterday, but the little aboriginal dude. I remember in Second Coming when Nimrod was trying to take out all of the X-Men's teleporters. That's all I'll say. If you haven't read that, that's another great, excellent story that you should read, and you should read it all the way through with all the tie-ins and stuff like that. But Second Coming, again, is one of my favorite storylines, X-Men storylines of all time. It's a shame that we never got any Nimrod Sentinels as an army builder. I've been advocating for that for years now, maybe one day. But also during that Outback era, they actually fought against the Brood. It's been a while since Hasbro tackled the Brood. They did give us that Queen Brood Build-A-Figure in the early days when they took over from Toy Biz, but it would be nice to see a single deluxe Brood figure that maybe came with a larger Queen Brood figure and then some smaller sort of like drones or soldiers or whatever you call them. I could also see some sort of Outback set 3-pack coming with Colossus, Storm, and maybe Gateway or somebody else, or Psylocke. I could see them doing that to round out the team and to finish this team. But again, they're moving in the right direction in terms of completing teams for sure. Personally, I don't really care about the Spider-Man, the animated series stuff. You know, I'll pick up some of the stuff here and there. I'm not really a fan of any of the cel-shaded figures, but if they're going to do more of the Spider-Man the animated series characters without the cel shading, then I may lean into that. So they did mention that that was going to be the case, and I do think this Kraven looks great in this deco. I see a lot of mixed reactions about the PS5 Spidey. The accessories, I think, again, are great, especially to have them all in one set, but I think he's a little too buff for Spider-Man's look in the game. They need to just do an all new mold or use one of the comic-based molds, something. I don't know, but I saw a comment, I think, on my Instagram saying how they gave Miles an all new sculpt and gave him the proper treatment, but they keep reusing the same mold for Spidey, which isn't the correct one, and I agree. But yeah, in terms of Spider-Man the animated series, I would love to see an updated Chameleon, Punisher, Blade. I know one of my Facebook friends in particular would love to see Smythe, so sky's really the limit with those looks. Now, in terms of this 7-figure wave that we don't quite know what the Build-A-Figure is yet, they showed off Kid Omega first. Again, this is a modern look for him. His first appearance was in that new X-Men run, number 135, Grant Morrison's run. This is also the run that introduced Cassandra Nova as arguably one of the greatest, biggest villains in X-Men history. I think that run is phenomenal. Up until the point where I think Mark Silvestri took over. I didn't really like where it went after that. But that new X-Men run and a lot of things that were established during that run carried over into Josh Whedon's run, which is also one of my favorites of all time that I've talked about all the time. And we'll bounce back to that. But yeah, not my favorite look for Kid Omega, but he has played a pretty big role in the X-Men comics over the past 10, 12, 15 years or so. Now, Fang and the possibility of more Imperial Guard members, I'm all for that. How they're going to do this and how long it'll take to complete this team or like core members of this team, who knows? This, I think, could be a SDCC box set, somewhere in the vein of that big DC box set that they had put out a long time ago. I forgot what team it was, but something will be popping up here. Again, an updated Gladiator, first and foremost, Lalandra, and then give us some of the core members from the Imperial Guard. They played major roles, not only in that Uncanny X-Men 275 through 270 whatever run, maybe 280, I don't know, but also they played a role in the Grant Morrison new X-Men run the Shi'ar did. I don't want to give away much. Again, some of you younger dudes that's watching the channel or new people, or some of you guys that swear by not reading comics, I'm giving you some great reading material that'll knock your socks off. But yeah, they also showed up there. They showed up in the Uncanny X-Men 475 run. You know, that was the rise and fall of the Shi'ar Empire, the Emperor Vulcan, War of Kings, that ran through all of that, which was all phenomenal. Great cosmic story. So again, it'll be great to see a full Imperial Guard. Now, Chamber, a very unique character, definitely a member of the Generation X squad, although they didn't really put him in his Generation X uniform, although he did kind of sometimes just have this getup on with Generation X, but I feel like he was more in the casual getup after the Generation Generation X run. However, this opens up the possibility for a Generation X team, similar to what they're going to do with the Jim Lee costumed X-Men. Maybe we'll get 2 more 3-packs. I did see my man Mike, aka Captain McKay Random, make a comment that they could just include an additional head with Monet for Husk, but I think they may actually go the same route and give us a couple of 3-packs here. So the other members of the team, Jubilee, Mondo, Skin, Cinch, Husk, I guess that was like the core group, and Chamber. So that would be very interesting. It would be some first timers in the life of the Marvel Legends line. But for certain, this puts us on the path to completing another team. So yeah, that's where Monet brings us. I wonder if they will include another head sculpt with Monet that's not just for Husk, or the possibility of a Husk figure, but maybe a head with the mask over the eyes. And then talking about Corsair, this brings us back to Shi'ar adjacent characters, Starjammers. Been saying for quite some time that we should get a Starjammers team, another team, but with the tease at the end of yesterday's stream, I'm for certain that we're going to be getting Chad. I think he will be the Build-A-Figure of this wave. Corsair on a new Vulcan buck is perfect, and then we just need the other members of that team. But the Starjammers definitely played a role in the Vulcan story, that rise and fall of Shi'ar Empire, and we actually would be able to complete 2 versions of the Starjammers, maybe the classic version and a more modern version if we get an updated Havoc, if we get an updated Marvel Girl. Professor X, during this time, he was not in a wheelchair. In fact, he didn't even have his powers at all. Small spoiler, he did regain them, but Corsair is a major player in the Marvel universe in terms of the X-Men and the Summers family. And that brings us to the reveals of the Astonishing X-Men characters. Emma Frost, which I've heard mixed reviews about. Some people don't like it. I mean, goodness gracious, they gave us the platform heels here. I don't know. Dwight couldn't even stand the damn figure in the live stream, so there's going to be an issue standing her up. I really wish the cloak was soft goods, but I do think the head sculpt is almost spot on to how she was drawn during Joss Whedon's run, at least the first couple arcs. And the original of her from Hasbro is one of the worst figures that they've ever put out. So this is an upgrade no matter what. Obviously, you could swap this head off and use some of the other heads that we have for Emma, but in terms of the actual Astonishing X-Men look, I think this is pretty spot on. Now, I will be looking for a soft goods cloak from some secondary seller for sure, but I am eager and very interested and motivated to complete this core group. Again, Joss Whedon's run on Astonishing X-Men is epic. Cyclops on the Vulcan buck, phenomenal. So we'll need updated versions of Colossus. We'll need Cat Head Beast and one of his most ridiculous costumes, but still, it's a great look for the entire team. We'll need an updated Kitty, and we'll need Astonishing X-Men Wolverine. I was mad when they put out that Hot Claws Wolverine and the Bone Breaker wave, and I was hoping that we'd get Astonishing X-Men Wolverine then, but no question we're going to get Wolverine. And the way they've been pumping out box sets, it's a good possibility that they may give us the rest of the team in a box set. I don't know. But do yourself a favor and start reading this run today. It's all connected. These characters, the looks, these storylines, they're all intertwined, and you could really do a lot of cool displaying based on what's to come in 2023. Now, in terms of the teases at the end, again, Chad 100% because that's his little furry friend. I do think the rose will belong to a rose figure. Haven't really narrowed down the golf club just yet. Thank you to everybody for participating in my little Instagram questionnaire. Pretty much everybody had the rose and the little furry dude spot on. But again, the jury's still out on the golf club. So Legends showing out, man. Consistently one of the best toy lines. In my personal opinion, as a big Marvel fan, I think they've been doing a pretty good job, but they definitely need to step it up in terms of picking the right bucks, paint detailing, and accessories in 2023. All right, look out for my top 10s, top 5s, best and worst stuff. I'm going to start doing those soon. All right. Thanks for hanging out. As always, rate, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell down there. And until next time, peace.
I'm in the game, I'm grinding. I got to play 24 hours in a day, 7 days out the week. I never sleep. I'm on my grizzly bear, 52 weeks out the year.